All right. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see everybody today. It is Tuesday, August 5th. It is Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Tuesday, August 5th. Got another episode of Starjump Shipyard. Today, we're going to talk about a few things, new ship related. We may do a little bit of, heavy speculation, obviously, in this episode. We are going to talk a little bit about the new Kruger ship, which we saw previously in a Inside Star Citizen, or was it Star Citizen Live? Star Citizen Live. We're going to review that video a little bit, especially the section on Kruger. We're going to and that stuff's pretty concrete. We just got a new sneak peek image the other day of that new ship, and then we're going to shift gears to like heavy speculation mode, and we're going to take a look at the Info Runner's recent video on a possible new Consolidated Outland ship. This is a ship we've actually covered in the past on this channel. There's just some new imagery of it that Execute from the Info Runners found. I can't believe I missed it, but he spotted it. I did some 3D modeling around it, so we're gonna do some heavy speculation on that, and then probably talk about a few things Consolidated Outland related anyway, since we'll be on that manufacturer and we're expecting some CNOU ships later this year. So, everyone, chat. Let me pull up my chat window here so I can say hello to everyone. I'm juggling a lot of windows today. Apologies, everyone. It's a busy time at work. Just stand by here. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone in chat. I can see the chat now. I can see the chat. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you all. Socially confused. I think you were the first chatter this morning, so congratulations. She says, "Oh, I wanted to be first," but and according to my chat window, you're showing up first, unless that's a mistake. Das Refnix, maybe you were first. I'm not sure. I have two different chat windows. Each one of them shows someone different. So, Starjump Fenders in chat. Hope you're well, dude. I hope you're well. Let's see. Mootkins saw Mootkins at Quantum. Starjump Fenders in chat. He saw, which was incredible. Some of you know that Quantum Vegas was beginning of last month. Absolutely incredible event. Hopefully they do it again next year, and I can go again. I had a hell of a lot of fun. It was interesting being a celebrity for a day, which is what it felt like. So big thanks to the Quantum crew for setting all that up. I've never signed as many autographs as I did on that day, which was kind of cool. I think I probably signed 100 autographs. And big shout out to Paul Shelley, Astro Historian. He was saying that my panel was the best of the show, which I really appreciate him saying. It was a lot of fun. We'll definitely have to do a bigger thing next year, though, if they in fact do it. So let's see here. And it says, "Good brother, miss talking to you. We got a golf swing. We do got a golf swing. We got to get some golf going." There's a play test of a new game coming out soon that I really want to play. That's got elements of games we used to like, though. I've actually sort of been staying up on development. I'll have to tell you about it. Let's see here. Socially confused says, "Anyone else getting stream freezes?" Hopefully not. Maybe I have too much open. Maybe I can close a few things. I will say that currently I'm showing healthy streams. Apologize for that socially. Hopefully it clears up. Try reloading it. Again, I'm showing healthy streams, or healthy stream. Well, no. Now it's saying unstable. Hopefully it holds up. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. hopefully it clears up. Maybe I've got too much going on. Let me see here. Stand by, everybody. Let me check a few things. Let's see here. Citizen Deck says no freezes on Twitch side. It's interesting. Twitch is the one I'm showing unstable, and YouTube I'm showing healthy. So who knows? Who knows? Sorry, everybody. You may have to bounce back a little bit. Apologies about that. I probably should have restarted the computer before I hit go. I was doing some work though right up to the last minute, so apologies. Apologies. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into a few things. I want to remind everybody that we are, let's see here. Here we go. We have the Perseus giveaway. That's tomorrow. So if you hadn't had a chance to get in on that, make sure you get in on that. I'll put the link down in chat again. I got a lot of entries. The plan is to pull the winner tomorrow. Tomorrow night. I got to schedule the stream for that, but it will be tomorrow night. One thing I got to do tomorrow is take all the people that donated to St. Jude. I need to collate all the money those people donated and translate that into entries, which I'm going to do. Remember, if you donated during St. Jude, every $10 you donated will get you an extra entry into the Perseus giveaway. I checked just yesterday again. Perseus is sitting in my hangar, in my account, ready to be gifted. And we all know that this ship is well on its way through the production pipeline. CIG just put out an update about that. What was it, last month? That it was barreling through gray box phase at a pretty decent clip. And then based again off what we're seeing with the RSI Meteor and other, the Zeus and the Polaris and all the RSI ships we've seen, I'm really excited to see where the Perseus is going to end up. I think it's going to be really, really slick. So anyways, get in on that if you can. Only 33 hours left to enter that. Going to be a big giveaway. As you all know, that is a pretty pricey ship. It's not a cheap one. So make sure you get in on that. Irish and Beer, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Ender says, want me to do that for you, brother? Possibly. I think I've already got it worked out, though, Ender. I got the Excel document from from Tiltify, and which you showed me how to pull, and I've already built a table that's converted the entries into numbers. I then just need to pull the Excel thing from Gleam and add those entries to it manually, which is the one part I haven't done before, but I will take a peek at that. So Radium TX, but I do appreciate that, bud. Radium TX says, do we need to be present to win? No, you don't. It's just your entry is all you need to win. Even if for some reason, so I'm going to get the stream scheduled for tomorrow. I'll get that scheduled sometime later today. It'll be scheduled for tomorrow night. It's just going to be a casual, fun stream. We're going to shoot shit, talk all kinds of stuff. Probably talk a lot about the Perseus. Might have a few guests on. Who knows? But regardless, you don't have to be present for that. You do not have to be present for it. However, I am going to give the winner a certain amount of time to contact me. I will reach out to them via email. I do have everyone's email who entered, but I'm going to give them about a week to get back to me, probably about 5 days. If they don't get back to me in 5 days, we will pull another winner. I think 5 days is adequate time to to get back a hold of me. So thank you, Irish and Beer. Thank you, Moon Varcom, for the follows. I do really appreciate it. Everyone, give Starjump Ender a salute in chat. Hope he's hanging out well and keeping up with life. He's got a lot of stuff going on right now. So we wish him the best and hopefully continues to trudge through things. All right. Let's go into sort of our primary topic. We are going to switch over here for a minute. I want to talk a little bit about getting close to getting ready to move. Just got to sell this damned house. Well, the housing market is good right now, so hopefully you don't have any troubles, my dude, and it all goes well. Okay, let's open up some stuff here. Okay, so we're going to talk about we are going to talk about Kruger Intergalactic. Who is aware of this ship manufacturer? Hopefully you are. Some people are not very aware of it, primarily because Kruger does not have very many ships. As a matter of fact, they only have two, the P-72 and the P-52. Is it P-52, P-55? I can't even remember. Let's look it up. We got this cool tool. I don't even know Kruger ships that well. P-52 Merlin and P-72 Archimedes. Two really interesting ships that I can't remember when these were released. Maybe someone in chat knows. Truth says the housing market is about to crash. It may. It's definitely not where I'm living. If you live in Ohio, the housing market is stupid and has been for years. There is high inventory, but is still stupid. Houses around me regularly get 20,000 over asking, cash, sight unseen. So it does depend a little bit on where you live, but I'm also not a real estate expert. You may be a real estate expert, Truther. I am not, but I do keep up on real estate news, and I do know that there's some cooling of the housing boom going on right now for sure in many parts of the states. I just do know there's some pockets right now that are just like out of control gangbusters still. So how long that lasts, I don't know. If you are a real estate expert though, Truther, then I would definitely err on your expertise. But yeah, in my neighborhood, a house right across the street, literally sold sight unseen. There was a bidding war. The person paid $40,000 over asking, and in all cash. Okay, that's like in my area. That's how crazy it is. But here in Columbus, it's also one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and there's a lot of like corporate headquarters here. It's also a big medical sort of industry city, and for example, Intel is building a $6 billion gigafactory here. It's on the other side of town, but that alone is bringing just a lot of like big, you know, prospective buyers and stuff here. So, all right, let's get back to our main topic. We're talking about Kruger. We're going to switch over here. We're talking about the manufacturer Kruger Intergalactic. I mean, you know what? Let's pull up the logo. We got to get Kruger's logo up in here. We got to represent Kruger in the best possible light. Okay, we're talking about Kruger Intergalactic, makers of the P-72 Archimedes and the P-52 Merlin. Essentially the same hull, same design there. You know, they are small snub ships originally designed as a snub ship for the Constellation series of spaceships. If you've ever been in like a Connie Andromeda or something, you will know there is a docking mechanism there in the back for the P-72 series. Beyond that, I do know this ship has, there's people that love this ship for racing. I've even seen people love it for combat and stuff like that. Some of you in chat are going to be much better experts than me. Timorare, God, I hope I said that right. Dragon, I'm just going to call you Dragon. Dragon, thank you for the follow. Salute to you. There'll be others of you that know what the Archimedes and Merlin are really good at any given time. I know there's been some times where they've been at the sort of the top of the meta for that moment for various things. They're really, really small, so people like to fit them in other ships and have a lot of fun from that standpoint. Now, if you watched Inside Star Citizen a while back, I think it was from 4 months ago, we had the vehicle concept team on, and Jared was interviewing them, and they talked about a few things that were kind of interesting, specifically 3 things that were really interesting about that episode and why it still is a great episode. So the first thing they talked about was interior concept work on the Pioneer, and they showed some imagery of that, imagery that I personally really liked, and we may kind of go back to that here on the episode here later on. They also talked about the RSI salvage ship, which was interesting. I still don't understand that ship, but they do talk about this like RSI mini salvage ship. At first, I was curious if that was sort of if that sort of eventually turned into the Meteor, but I don't think so. I think the RSI salvage ship and some of the concepts they showed off is more built around a unique hull. It just for a unique hull, it seems odd that it's a salvage ship, but hey, each his own there. And then, of course, last but not least, they talked about the Kruger concept that they're working on. I believe a light fighter. We do have a little bit more information now starting to leak out. But we're going to take a moment here. We're going to watch this section of the video. Hopefully the volume is okay with this. We're not going to watch the entire SCL, by the way. It's an hour long. But we're going to watch just this part on the new Kruger ship. And it's about... it's probably about 7 or 8 minutes or so, and we may pause a few times, okay, as we're going.
Why don't you ask him?
Oh, yeah, ask him.
Hey, John.
There's John Cruise puppet in
Do
the
the best
background.
John impression. All right. So we talked about work on the Pioneer, concept of the interior of the Pioneer. We've revealed that work is underway on a new vehicle built on the Mantis foundation.
Well, that's got to be the
We've
Meteor,
got a
right?
new starter salvage that's underway. Jacob,
Yep.
what are you working on?
I'm working on something that I think and hope some people might be kind of excited about, because the manufacturer only has one ship in the game so far, and it's been a while.
Two.
I mean, okay, fair enough. But they look pretty much the same. But it's been a while since those came into existence. And yeah, when I got the brief for that ship, someone outside our team actually told me that I should be pretty excited because it's kind of a big deal. So yeah, it is a Kruger ship, a new Kruger Intergalactic. And it is a light fighter.
So working on a brand new Kruger
light fighter.
Let's
So
take a look at your contact sheet here. So
It's okay.
immediately,
A lot of cool
and
designs.
you tell me if I'm wrong in this. I'm seeing some strong like 1950s retro sci-fi vibes here.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, what's everyone's? Put it in chat while you can here. We got A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. They will show additional angles here as we go, but let's see what everyone thinks. Put your letter in there that you think is the ship they need to go with. A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. Quite a few options there. There's parts and pieces of all of them I like, but put in chat which one you think.
Some of the ref that Ben and John picked out was, old cars, like retro cars, 50s, hot rods, World War II planes, especially like Spitfire, P-51 Mustang, Me-262, stuff like that. So yeah, very sleek, very chrome, spiky, rounded forms.
A lot of E's,
Yeah,
A or
that's
B,
just a little
Scale
kind of
up
across
compared to-
everyone. And there's a lot of love for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tiny Merlin.
So dinky.
Okay. We got some other images, some other orthos.
This
here.
would be a bigger Merlin ship, or sorry, a bigger
now-
Kruger ship.
Besides the retro sci-fi aspect is obvious. I also see Naboo.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
which is the same influence. Everything Naboo was all built from those old 1950s retro sci-fi, kind of shape language and stuff. So it's one of those things.
I'm leaning
you
towards
find
A,
Lots
I
of
think.
times there's people who are like,
For
oh,
me,
that
I
looks
think
like
I'm leaning A.
that ship from that franchise, and it's like, no, we weren't actually looking at that franchise. It's just they were using the same influences we were. So some interesting posteriors here. What are we looking at?
Thank you
Take
for
us through some
subscribing,
options.
Christian. Appreciate
what's
you.
This thing in the back supposed to be.
This was just a idea for keeping the circular motif that the Merlin has. It kind of, or the Archimedes as well, has this negative space, this hole in the middle of the fuselage on the wings, which is just a circle. So I was trying to implement that somewhere in the design, rotating it.
I love this guy here.
Yeah, I'm pretty up.
I love this guy too. I'm sitting here. I'm struggling with picking an early favorite here.
There's some really cool designs
some more
here.
looks at that. I'm definitely a fan of like the lowered pylon thing.
The big nacelle, yeah.
I'm remembering the fighter from the 1985 Wolfgang Peterson movie Enemy Mine right now, Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. This one. Let me see if I can find the one that's
Yeah, I
I'm
like the
thinking of
ones
that
with
one
no guns
specifically.
sticking out,
This
but
guy
I
down
think
here.
CIG is going to go with
See if I can zoom
exposed
in.
guns for flexibility of
Keep
armament,
reversing it.
but we'll see.
I thought the big circle was so we could put it on like a keychain.
Lathan, you're not allowed to talk, remember? Yeah. But yeah, with the little detached pylons, it's also very reminiscent of like the Buck Rogers of fires and stuff, which is another tremendous thing. And I think this is our last. Did you just say what's Buck Rogers?
Ooh.
B's cool. I like B. It's a little bit, yeah. B's got a little bit more of the Naboo vibe to me.
Go to sleep.
Jared's gonna have to put one on to
Thank
sleep
God.
here.
Finally.
Buck Rogers. 2003.
Please
he
don't
says.
clip that and put it out of context.
I still don't know who's Buck Rogers.
2003, he says. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to that first image. These are all really cool. One of the things that really stands out to me is how smooth they are. A lot of our ships are great at greebles and panel lines and all those details and stuff. And that's what's one of the things. It's one of the hallmarks of Star Citizen is that we get to have all.
Pausing on that for a minute, I do hope that CIG leans on the smoother aesthetic for this without as much greeble work. Now, that doesn't personally appeal to me so much because I really like all the greeble and stuff on Drake ships and even Crusader ships and stuff, which are smoother. CIG puts the right amount of greeble in there. RSI, they've been doing a great job. The Polaris obviously is like to me now the best example of really good exterior greeble work. However, it would be really cool if we had a few more really smooth, slick ship options. We have obviously Origin. Crusader also plays a little bit in that too. Crusader's kind of the middle of greeble and smooth. They kind of sit in the middle. But we have Origin, we have a little bit of Crusader, a little bit of Misk kind of falls into the smooth vibe, but it'd be really cool to have one that is like super slick, super smooth, very recessed panels. Not a lot of like extra cladding or anything like that on the exterior. I think that'd be a lot of fun and just an interesting ship language. I will say that those from a modeling perspective tend to be super challenging to deal with because 3D modelers a lot of times rely on greeble work to sort of detail out things and give them some sense of reality, some sense of tactileness and stuff. So when stuff is so smooth, it becomes tricky to work with the shaders and textures and just how the ship looks in multiple lighting scenarios and all that. It's a bigger challenge.
All of that detail work in our ships. I actually what I find myself, and again,
by the way, I don't know if these engines back here are supposed to be sort of like copper, brass, or bronze, or like gold sort of colors on the cladding there, but I would love if CIG leaned on that. Hector, thank you for Ecor. Hopefully I said that right. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I would love for CIG to bring in not just the silvers they have been on some of the engine work, but some of the gold elements too. We've seen some of that on Drake ships, which is really cool, and I'd love to see CIG do that more. More caffeine, thank you very much for the follow. Send in the old javelin overhead. All right, let's keep going.
This is just speaking for myself right now. What I find myself responding to is how little detail there is. You have these items that can be machined so precisely that the panels can close and the seams can disappear. Like that's what I'm imagining looking at this.
So I'll pause again. Sorry. So with B though, the one thing I will say is that B to me feels the most Kruger-esque only because of the way the guns are situated. The guns are definitely front and foremost, and kind of like the ship looks like it's sort of like built to carry these two guns. We've seen that obviously at the P-72, P-52, again, based off the same hull, but it's sort of like Kruger is designing a ship around the gun that it's carrying. So if CIG wanted to continue that thinking forward, then B seems like it would be the best fit. However, the one negative thing about B is it's just a slightly redesigned Meteor. Now I know the Meteor's a medium fighter and this is a light fighter, but it's essentially two big guns out front. It's just sort of a different fighter class and different manufacturer, but sort of brings the same thing to the table to me, just in terms of aesthetics. So again, I liked it on the Meteor. I do think the Meteor is a really cool and interesting ship. It's too expensive for a medium fighter, in my opinion, which is what prices it out of a purchase for me. Unless you're melting a ship for it. If you're melting a ship for it, it may be worth it. But for me, yeah, I would like Kruger to go a little bit more sleek in how it integrates. I love how the guns are more integrated here into the hull. Again, that actually feels like Kruger as well, because that does link up with the P-52 pretty well. So let's continue on.
Don't take that to
Hey,
mean
Mag,
anything.
hope you're
That's
well.
literally me
Salute to
reacting
you.
to the images right now. I'm not speaking from any prior knowledge. These are cool. Do you have a favorite, Jacob?
Hustle Bones, what I'm referring to is on B here, the two big guns are out front and forward of the ship, just like the Meteor. If I put the Meteor right next to this, it's the same. That's literally what I mean. So, as a matter of fact, because we have the power, let's do that, and I'll show you what I'm trying to say here, which I'm probably trying to say it pretty poorly. By the way, we did add the Meteor to Fleet Viewer, everybody. We did add the Meteor to Fleet Viewer. Yeah, so if I grab the Meteor right here and I just kind of bring it right next, what I just mean is that both guns are sort of up front of the ship, sticking out wide on its beam. Same thing here, both guns up wide on the beam of the ship, up near the front. That's all I meant. It's just got some of that sort of same DNA. Now, the ship is very different. This one, you're sitting in the rear. This one, you're sitting up front. Completely different ship hulls. This is a medium fighter. Popstot 3. Thank you for that follow. Pink Tank, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. But there is some like DNA there that is a little similar to me. I hope that Kruger does the more integrated gun route, where the guns are more integrated into the hull of the ship. Although I do know that would like maybe limit what type of guns it could carry, possibly.
It was one of the situations that Alberto mentioned earlier, where it's kind of ideal because I was happy with any one of these getting picked.
Which one's the bad one?
Yeah, but like, don't be like a parent who lies and say they don't have a favorite kid. Everybody's got a favorite kid.
I was pretty happy with. Yeah, I liked F, just the fact that it has the engine nacelle underneath the cockpit. It has like a bit of a higher stance if you look at it from the side. I liked, yeah, E as well. It's pretty different, but I kind of liked it.
That's true, more caffeine, that's true.
Yeah, D was kind of cool. I was pretty happy with B. It is a bit of a more generic silhouette, I would say. But I think it works, and yeah, A is cool as well.
B
reminds
works,
me
it's
of
just a
General
little
Grievous's fighter.
uninspired to me.
Which again, same
In terms
same
of how it
influence,
carries
you know,
its
you're
guns.
looking
That's
at
my
a-
only
a
caveat, but
guy
it
who
looks
grew up
cool.
on,
I do
you know,
like the way it
50
looks.
sci-fi stuff. and
Who's
George
General
Lucas.
Grievous? I'm joking.
You.
Now
What-
you need to choke him.
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and have our little review. So Sam and Lath and Alberto, you're in the review right now. If you were going to pick one,
Okay.
what would you put forward?
A and G for me.
You would pick G.
A and G.
Oh, A and G.
A.
So,
like G.
so there's
G's big.
there's G. You see some clear.
I like G a lot.
Links to the Merlin and
I'll
Archimedes
pick
there.
D.
Then A. Oh, the more I look at A, the more I just like it.
Yeah.
See, the way that A
I'll pick
integrates
A
the
and
guns there on the
D.
side, I
You
really
pick
like.
A and D.
A
I really like that.
Okay. How about you, Lath?
and D A.
You can talk now.
I mean, I think he should start again, personally. I like G. I like G a lot.
You
I
like-
really
you
like
like
its,
G?
its thinner silhouette.
Chat has been voting. Chat has been voting since we started this here.
C would make a
and
good
Lots
racer.
of opinions, as they usually are. But if I had to pick some unscientific, anecdotal tabulation here, I think A is sort of taken away. Let me find a really good
That one's just the glacier.
shot of A.
I love the look
That's
of A,
from
though.
behind.
It's just
Let me see
really
if I can
cool.
Find another better ortho of A here.
Yeah, they could fill that circular hole in. I can see how that's a little divisive.
Well,
They could fill that in,
I
though,
paid
and
someone
even
a
put a little
fiver,
bit of a
and then I
vertical
pretended
stabilizer
to
on
do
it.
Oh shit.
See, you're doing a lot of butt first stuff here. Where's the? There we go. I'm trying to get the shot from the front. Here we go. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. Ooh.
I think if you go to the next one, it's like a
Oh, the next one?
bigger view, yeah.
I'm having trouble with my controls. Here we are. We'll zoom in on that. Nope.
Zoom in. Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Wowzers.
like. It's so different than everything else that we have right now. That's what personally excites me about
Yeah,
it.
it's really cool. I
is-
like it.
It doesn't look like anything else that we're flying. None of these do. None of these do.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real honest.
But
Any one of these.
I will say that I don't know how these would look not all chromed out in that kind of 1950s material aesthetic with like the super shiny Sid Meier mirror chrome kind of look. Did I say his name right? I forget. I always forget. But without that, like if they were just like, I don't know. It'd be interesting. They would probably look quite different. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what if they feel just really different, not in that sort of silverish matte chrome kind of vibe.
Would kill. Any one of these would have its fandom. Any one of these would have its supporters.
I do like it, though.
I'm
They're
really
cool.
excited about this.
Gotta say, I'm really grateful, since this is my first full ship that I'm doing from the ground up. I'm really grateful that, Ben and John have been so kind as to really let me.
Yeah, executes in chat, everyone. Algrid thinks the Peak might be a bike. I sort of was wondering the same thing because, again, this is the concept team talking about concept ships, and this is from only 4 months ago. So it seemed early for a new Kruger ship to be on the way, or at least the ship they're talking about here, the light fighter. However, what they're showing here could have been much further along, and they were just showing us what it had gotten to through concept. It's very possible the ship, without them telling us or maybe giving us red herrings, was already deep into production at this time. Again, knowing what those those production times for ships are. So.
Push and explore stuff that's like a bit more crazy, a bit different from what we've done before, from the Merlin as well. And yeah, it's been very, very fun so far. Okay.
So, real quick, I'll pull up the sneak peek here, which is this bad boy. It doesn't look like handlebars to me. Well, I guess it does a little bit. But this looks more like a dashboard with buttons and stuff. But it does look... yeah, I don't know what this part is. If it's just part of the interior cockpit area, or if this is like, it almost does look like the center of like handlebars in a way, but these buttons here kind of throw me. It looks like they could be a dashboard, but regardless, Forseti, thank you, salute to you, hope you're well. But ultimately, from what we've heard, this is possibly light fighter. So let me go back to what did leak out, which was not much. It was... Stand by. Bear with me. Where was it? Okay. So what has sort of possibly leaked out, again, this is unsubstantiated. This is this is to be taken with a grain of salt for sure. Versetti just subscribed, sending the Kraken overhead. Thank you very much, Versetti. Thank you very much. Salute to you. I appreciate that support. Yeah, I see the handle bit on the right. You're talking about over here. I don't know. There's not enough to make out anything. I can draw any conclusions. But what has leaked out, and again, take this with a grain of salt, is that there is something called the Krueger Intergalactic L21 Wolf. L21 Wolf. Apparently, there is a death mask file for this potential new ship in the Evo build. I have not looked into it myself. Unfortunately, I just haven't done any sort of file data mining or anything. But that is a little bit of information that's come out. Krueger Intergalactic L21 Wolf. Possible new ship. Light fighter. But we don't know. Maybe L21 Wolf is a bike. Maybe it's some sort of hover bike or something. I think that would be semi-disappointing, only because I don't know. The bikes have never really interested me other than the Dragonfly, and that's only because the Dragonfly's got a little bit of nostalgia, baked into it for me. It's one of the first vehicles I saw for this game. So, that aside, though, the hover quad, the Nox, all those, they don't do a lot for me. The Pulse? The Pulse also is not like, every time I use it, I get killed, pretty much, because it's just dangerous and weird. Daylight Fire, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. XQ says, let me know if you want to discuss the CNOU ship. Yeah, I'm about to move to that here in just a second. XQ, if you want to jump into the chat, I'll drag you in a minute. I'll pop over there. So yeah, Kruger. It looks like we have a new ship or new something on the horizon for them, potentially called the L21 Wolf. If it's not the light fighter coming to the game in the next patch, 4.3 or something, if it's not that, okay, let's say that the light fighter that they were discussing on the Inside Star System episode was indeed or is indeed still in production, because that was only 4 months ago. Let's speculate wildly for a minute. Then what could we be getting from Kruger that would make sense and be interesting? A little hover bike seems about right in terms of what they could produce with the limited Kruger art asset kit. I doubt very much anything would be coming that's bigger than a light fighter. If this is not the light fighter that's coming, I think it would be, again, why build up the light fighter when you're about to release a medium or large cargo ship by Kruger? It just doesn't make any sense. So I think if this is not the light fighter, I think we're getting something smaller from Kruger, some sort of snub or starter or hover bike or something like that, if it's not the light fighter. But I honestly am starting to think it is the light fighter. I really do. I think it's the light fighter. Socially Confused says Wolf would be a cool name for bounty hunting ship. Wolf is a cool name for any ship. So maybe it's called the L21 and maybe Wolf is a variant. We'll have to see. I agree with some of you, though, saying no more bounty hunting ships. No more hover bikes. I'm not particularly keen on those either. All right. So next we're going to talk about, you know what? He did an episode on it. So we're going to talk to the man himself here. Let me bring him over, because we're going to kind of talk about a new Consolidated Outland ship, and the info runners execute an Algrid, and John did a video of this. I'll let Execute talk about it as well, but I want to ask him some questions. We're going to go into it. I have a 3D model that I've started to mess with a little bit. We're going to pull that up, take a look at it. I want to get what everyone thinks about it and get your opinions on it. I'm pretty excited about Consolidated Outland ships in general for this year with the Pioneer and development. So let's go ahead and bring Execute in. Hello, Execute. You were live on air. How are you, bud?
Oh, shit. I got the wrong speakers on. 2 seconds. Just give me 1 second because I was walking around doing stuff. Give me.
I
2
brought him
seconds.
and he was not prepared.
Well, actually, what I was doing was I was out in the. Right, can you talk? There we go. Cool. I was out in the kitchen making a sandwich.
Okay,
So
unprepared.
I've just. So as you said, oh, let me bring the man on. I'm like, oh shit, run.
So,
to get back in.
I'll give everyone a little bit of a primer. So obviously today we're speculating on potential new ships. Obviously the Kruger one's not much of a speculation. We know we're getting something from them at some point. We just got a sneak peek that was very obvious as a Kruger something.
Well, as always with those sneak peeks, it's enough to hang yourself. There's no way you can tell what that is from that image.
No way to tell yourself. But CIG was also very obvious with the Kruger badge air, which we know it's going to be Kruger, and that's about all we know. I think that alone is going to be exciting for people. I actually. I think it could be a bike because I don't think they'd have anything else. If it's not a light fighter, I don't think there would be anything ready to put out other than a bike or hover something. My only concern with that, and the reason I hope it's not that, is that I feel like they've already teased the Kruger light fighter. If the first thing they come out of the gate with is some sort of hover bike, it's actually almost going to feel more like a letdown than anything else. Personally, so
well, it really depends how they go with it. Like, man, let's be honest. Let's just check out speculation like a wild, crazy person. What if it's a Titan suit? You got no idea what it could be. Absolutely none.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be. I mean, it really could be anything. It could be. I just pulled down his mic fingers. Sorry, I had it boosted because the YouTube videos for some reason. No, it's not your fault. I had it boosted because the YouTube video volumes play at such low volume when I'm watching like an SCL or something. I don't know. I need to fix that. But anyways, everyone, I turned it down a bit, so it should be good. But with that, I wanted to circle back, and it's great you've popped on here because I really was planning on circling back and sort of not watching your video, but linking to it for sure, and just telling everybody about the video you just put out. I think it was a really great video. I had some early conversations with you about it. After you had made it, and you sent me a preview of it. By the way, everyone, I just put the link to the Info Runners video in chat. But it's essentially speculating. Yeah, go ahead.
We actually remade the video after I talked to you.
Yeah, I saw that. So you recorded this video first with John, right?
Yeah, with John. Yep.
Yeah, and it was good. It was great. And then, as is always with every video that I think I've ever put like work and effort into, as soon as I release it, I learned something new that changes my mind. But after you had sent that to me as a sort of a private video, watched it, I think you came to some new conclusions. I had some thoughts on it. I'm sure Algrid and John probably. Again, you reanalyze this stuff as you just investigate more and more, and as you talk to more and more people,
Exactly. As you do it in a group, like this is how you got to speculate in a group, literally. You cannot do it alone because your brain will tell you correct, and you are often very, very wrong. Exactly. So you need other people to check you. And so even when I find something like this, I try to talk to a few people at the very least.
Yeah.
And
so I got a still of the video up, but essentially what we're talking about here is for all intents and purposes, a almost 100% confirmed Consolidated Outland ship. I think we're about as close as you can confirm it being Consolidated Outland without CIG telling us it's Consolidated Outland. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to say this now. I wouldn't say this in a video, but I'll say it here on this stream because they're probably not going to be here. But the amount of hate in the comments, I was getting depressed. Yeah. And I was like, we just can't read this shit. But no, there was people like yelling at us going, this is clearly an anvil ship. And I'm going, what? Are you cooked?
Well,
what are you drugs you on?
Here's the thing. There's a couple of reasons I am a 100 or very close to 100% that this is Consolidated Outland, and it doesn't have to do with anything that's like super obvious on the ship. So, for example, it's got the big, sort of classic cargo ship bridge and all that stuff that we've seen on the Pioneer. Although I think that's a pretty damn big hint. The big thing, the big thing to me that screams Consolidated Outland is there's one particular angle we get of this ship that shows some panel lines that I've only ever seen on Consolidated Outland ships. Okay.
Yeah.
Specifically the Pioneer. Okay. And this was before the Pioneer was reconcepted, and I'll show those particular panel lines. It's not to say that it's not Anvil. It's just I've only ever seen them on Consolidated Outland. I'll show that. Now,
I think you can look at.
Go ahead.
I have to say, for it being Anvil, the only argument I've seen for it being Anvil is the engines look like the ones on the Carrack.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's enough, because let's be honest, most engines have a round exhaust port fin in the back.
And we should talk about the Carrack engines real quick, since we're on.
The other thing is, tell me a ship made by Anvil that is not military skewed. Now, could this technically be a military transporter? Maybe, but highly unlikely when it's going to a mining facility. In the video. And
there's other clues too. So let's talk about the Carrack engines real quick. Let me pull something up real quick. Let me pull up this still here, which is a rear shot of the ship. You can see the engines back here. And yes, you're right. You could look at that and say, oh yeah, that is Anvil. It's got the circular engines and all that. I could totally see the argument that someone would make there. My only issue is the Carrack's engines are first off, the Carrack's engines have never been loved. The reason is that before the Carrack was reconcepted, when it went through production, it had actually really unique rear engines. They were not circular at all. They were like kind of weird like trapezoidal shaped. As a matter of fact, you can look on the back of the current Carrack in game and see what shape they were sort of supposed to be, because the housing is still that shape. CIG, when they were in production, they changed them to circular engines. It was to be totally honest with you, felt a little lazy and a little bit like, let's just throw some engines on here, because our Anvil fighters have those circular engines. Now, that being said, I still hear to this day people complain about the Carrack's engines. They don't like them. So that's not to say that they wouldn't do it on a big ship. And then the reverse is true with the Pioneer. The last we've seen on the Pioneer is it has a really unique engine shape on its rear. So if this is indeed a Consolidated Outland ship, why would its big engines be circular? And I think personally, this is my theory on this, the Pioneer is supposed to be like a brand new Consolidated Outland ship that's highly advanced. It's like they're, if you watch the original Pioneer commercial, it's like the bleeding edge of Consolidated Outland ships. So it's bringing all the new tech to the table. This here could be an older Consolidated Outland ship. It could be. Okay, and now that's the engine argument aside. Thank you, Cosmic, for the follow. Aside from the panel line thing, which we'll get to in a minute, and the panel lines to me are much more scream Consolidated Outland than anything else. But let's kind of go back to our top view. So we're talking about a ship that is shown in two different Squadron 42 videos. It's shown in the I Held the Line video, and it's shown in a Squadron 42 gameplay reveal video. In each one of those videos, we see different parts and areas of the ship. Okay, so we see a profile view, we see a little bit of the top, we see its rear. We definitely see different angles.
Can I ask you a question between the two trailers?
Sure.
I think in the first trailer, so the I Held the Line, I don't think it's textured. I think it's just colored, because there's so much more detail in the second one.
Yeah, I
agree. You agree with that? Yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, Execute, I'm not 100% convinced that there's not variants of this ship that do have some slight differences to them.
Yeah, I actually bring that up in the video. I actually am now starting to think that it might not be. I think there's a cargo ship variant. I don't know if you've seen the video, but in the video, I actually bring it up. I right at the end, I literally say, I think this might actually be a drone ship that has variants.
Yeah. I fully agree with that. Primarily, where I'm coming from with that assessment is not only that, but there's some the front of the ship in different different trailers looks different. Like the front receives some changes, and so there could be some variants. And here's the thing: that wouldn't totally be out of whack for what we've seen with Squadron 42. For many of you in chat, if you've watched Squadron 42. Remember, you don't have to look very far to see a lot of variants of a lot of existing ships, right? I mean, we've seen variants of the Cutlass series in there. We've seen variants of the Bengals in there. We've seen where the CIG has taken a ship and made some modifications to it to create multiple variants, right? So that is something we've seen in Squadron stuff before. It would make sense, and especially on big ships. So, for example, I know it makes total sense, for example, that the Bengal has these multiple variants, because if you're putting that much work and effort into a massive ship, why not make minor changes?
Those assets.
Exactly. It's all about efficiency. So I could see it with this big ship as well.
The one thing I want to add, when we say modularity, by the way, guys, it might just be the modularity for the devs. It might not be for us. So we might actually get two separate, because to give an example, the Ironclad and the Ironclad Assault, the Assault is essentially a modular version of the Ironclad, but we're getting two distinct variants.
Right.
So it's just how they present it to us. So they might be two separate ships or three separate ships that are drone ships, but it depends how they want to sell them.
Yeah.
It really, it just comes down to that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so let's give a little bit of a primer on what you suggested for this ship, and I fully agree with, which is what we're seeing here is most likely a cargo ship with drone support, right?
Yep.
And again, I encourage everyone to go watch the video. I'll continue to post the link into chat, but to not go over what's all in that video completely, because again, it covers everything in a lot of detail. I'll just zoom in on this area, and you can very clearly see where that argument that Execute is bringing comes from. We can see these cargo boxes. You can see two here being loaded in. There's another one here that looks like it's about to be slotted in, and then you can see these little landing pads up top, and with a drone taking off from one of them. These drones, by the way, you will remember, not only are the drones shown in the trailer, and we'll look at those, but these are the same drones shown in the last year's CitizenCon, where they were showing the space station building. If you look closely, these exact drones are flying around as well in that. For anyone that's missed that. Yeah. As a matter of fact, they're flying in and out of the supply bay. You know how the Pioneer builds the supply bay, and then the supply bay builds a station? These are flying out of the supply bay.
So you would say they're CNOU drones?
Possibly. You know what? I didn't think about that, but yes, quite possibly.
Because Agrid saw them, and I saw them. We both thought they were Argo straight off the bat. Again, cargo drones, Argo made a lot of sense. Yeah. But Agrid went down this whole line of speculation, and he actually reckons they're snubs. And I had to debunk the fuck out of it, because I didn't agree with it. He brought it up again in the video, but I really disagree with him on it.
Yeah.
Because the only way it would work is if they're people lying down flat in the drones, and after all the shit they've had with the Vandal ships, there's no way they'll go through that again.
Yeah, no, I think these are 100% pilotless drones, again shown in the supply bay for base building for the space station. As a matter of fact, I'm bringing up an image of that now, and we'll take a peek here.
If you can send that to me, I'll look at it when I get back in my room.
Yeah, I will. I just have to find it, but I think that's what it is.
I think they're remote drones, and I think that I kind of said in the video, there's a dome on the bridge there. I think that might be like almost like a signal to say that it's like a drone radar or something like that. Or not radar, but like a drone antenna.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's see here. I'm typing in something real quick here. Bear with me.
I do have another question for you, because the most hateful comment we got, the guy literally said he was unsubbing because we were morons.
You gotta remember,
I don't wanna
everybody.
name
It's speculation. It's just we're
Yeah.
theory. We have fun thinking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
so you know how we you and I are talking about, are they 64 SU cargo size containers, right?
Yeah.
You remember that
Yeah.
discussion? He reckons we're idiots, and this thing is 4 to 4.5 times bigger than what we think it is, and he reckons it's 300 plus meters long.
Mm.
And the argument I have for that straight away is there is no reason for it to be that big, because we know they need a ship between the medium Consolidated Outland that looks like it's in the blue silhouette video, or regardless, if you don't want to say that thing exists, you need a ship that starts to bridge the gap between the Pioneer and the Nomad, right? Now, making a ship the same size as the Pioneer, why would you do that? It's not needed right now, right? And if you make one that bridges that gap, you start to be able to build out the whole ecosystem, so to speak. And then on top of that, you wouldn't build another capital ship, because there's not going to be that many capital ships, and you've got to kind of spread them around the manufacturers. You know, you want everyone to have at least one kind of large capital. Why would you have two of them being Consolidated Outland? It doesn't. So everything he says just does not make sense to me. And then he absolutely blasted me for it. And I'm venting, but man, like, that guy really got to me.
So here's the thing, too. You know, and until we 100% know. Thank you, Solomon. Appreciate it. Did you DM it to me? Oh, yeah, looks like you did. Stand by. Okay, why are you not on my friends list socially? Yeah. So yeah, perfect. That is possible, actually. That if that's it, socially confused, that could be manned. Actually, I don't know, or maybe it's record. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll show that in a minute. I would say that with all this stuff, first off, it's hard. We don't have any of this stuff to measure in game.
Yeah.
We don't have the structure that it's parked in. We don't have the ship. We don't have the drones. We don't have anything of that. We don't even know if the drones conform, for example, to, is that an extra small pad size? We have no idea of this stuff because it's not in game yet, so we can't physically measure it. Here's what we can. Here's what we can surmise out, and even these boxes here, we don't know if they're 64, 128, 500 SC. We just don't know. We are speculating. So when we say something, you can disagree with us for sure, but it doesn't make you right. It doesn't make us right. It doesn't make us wrong, or vice versa. We're all just speculating, and speculation is fun.
That's literally what I said in the episode, was like, let us know your thoughts in the comments and get the conversation going. And we get blasted, and I didn't understand. I'm like, I want to know what you guys think.
They just
but I don't want to be called moron.
They just thought you were. Thanks. They just thought you were due for an ass reaming. That's what it was.
It was harsh, man.
Yeah.
And Agron's going, don't let these assholes get you down. I'm like, dude, like this, like, what is wrong with this guy? Like he's calling us morons. I said, well, at least we're brave enough to try and talk about it. You're just sitting there.
Sure.
Whatever.
Well, and this is the classic thing when it comes to speculating Star Citizen. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've speculated about something coming down the pipe only for it to be completely wrong. You know what I mean? So.
Fun to dream, man. Like that's what this game started on, was a dream.
Yeah.
And as more and more people come into it, it's like any project. You know, the people that come at right in the end that'll only buy this game at retail, they were the people that didn't want to take any risks at all.
Right. And
So.
And a couple other things to remember is that sorry, I'm looking for some stills as I'm trying to talk. Is that a lot of a lot of the stuff shown in Squadron 42 and in any sort of cinematic moment in Star Citizen, it's always made to look way bigger than it actually is. So even though some of the shots in this make this ship truly look massive, like a massive capital, it may not be. Again, it's so hard to know at this time. I think we just have to sort of get more information on it. But that being said,
a lot of people referencing the Gladius a lot, because the Gladius flies like a little bit over the top.
A little bit over it, yeah.
But you got to remember, the video is ultra widescreen, so it's got fish eyes at the end.
Yep.
that warp it. And I even had to set it to Algrid because he kept referencing the Gladius as well. And I said, look, if this was a straight line, Algrid, I'd agree with you. But look, and you could look at the deck of the ship, and the deck of the ship bows as the camera goes to the right. You can literally see the fisheye lens effect on the length of the ship.
Yeah.
And when he realized that, he went, oh, you're probably right. And so, it's just really hard to tell the scale, and that's why I try to find things that are fixed, like the boxes that are right next to the ship. Again, you can't tell if the Gladius is over it or is it just so close to it that it looks tiny. Like, there's just no way to tell because you don't have the perception.
Right.
You've got no metric to grab in that film thing, and anyone will tell you perspective changes the size of things drastically.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and I'm trying to pull up an image here. Matter of fact, okay, here, this is a good image. Okay. If you see, so these might be different. So actually, see these little drones here that we're looking at the top view, everybody. And Solomon, thank you for, Socially Confused, thank you for sending this. So we got two sort of vehicles here. You can kind of see this right here. It's got the two big sort of working nacelles here, and then this central area. Now, this central area, it's hard to tell if there's a cockpit there or not. One could surmise maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I've seen two sorts of vehicles, though, that match what we're seeing here in some ways. Now, again, remember, just because we see it in like 3 years ago and see it last year, designs change, CIG updates all, things all the time. So we see this vehicle. Now, in the supply bay video for CitizenCon, we see this little vehicle, this little drone flying around, which you can see there. This could be the same thing we're seeing on that original ship. Maybe not. Okay, it's hard to tell. The one from the cargo ship overhead does look a little different than this for sure. I would admit that too. We do know these are pilotless drones, though. The one I'm showing on screen right now. This pilotless drone is literally, CIG says it is a remote or it is an automatic drone. That's literally what they call it in the video, and that is the vehicle that builds the space station from the supply hub. Okay, now I'm going to pull up the image though that that Socially Confused sent me, and this vehicle here could be what we're seeing on those landing pads of that cargo ship. So you can see it here. It's got the two big kind of nacelles. Looks like sort of like little pusher pads or something. I'm not sure what those are, but this one does have a cockpit, obviously an MPUV variant of some type. So anyway,
can you send that? Can you send that to me, please?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. So again, a couple different options here for what that could be. I'll go back to this here. You can tell whatever it is, though, it's got that sort of shape. Now, it does, to me, look most similar to what Socially Confused sent me, in which case those could be manned. If it is manned, they'd be the size of an MPUV, and we could then surmise scale from that. Wouldn't be too hard to surmise scale from that. Again, it's not saying that this ship,
that is incredibly similar.
Very, very similar. Yeah. And again, we don't know.
There's also see the landing pad? There's like a ramp up to each landing pad.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be interesting structure.
Mayor talked about that a lot. Like what we're actually suspecting, there's some kind of door or stairs in that. See in the middle section how there's like a little dark area on each thing. So we're actually thinking that there's like a door or something. You come out and then walk up the ramp.
Yeah, and it does look, again, pulling it back up here, it does look very close to what Socially sent. Again, this showed in a Squadron 42 trailer. It looks to be some sort of drone. If it is MPUV, then obviously this is some sort of Argo drone. So yeah, that could be what it is. Now there's another image. I want to get back to the ship in question. I want to go, let me pull up my images here. I want to show you all why I think it's Consolidated Outland real quick.
Okay.
And I could be wrong, by the way, everyone. I'm speculating. I'm speculating.
In that photo that Socially Confused sent, do you reckon it's got like magnets on the end and it just drives into the edge of the cargo crate?
It kind of looks. But see, that's the other thing. Is that, and we've seen this in the past, where we'll see a vehicle and it's supposed to work a certain way, and then CIG changes it later on because they've realized that functionality is not going to work that way. So,
have anyone heard of the raft?
Yeah, or the munching ability for salvage ships, or again, the goes on and on. So by the time we get this in our hands, it still could be changed, different from what it is in Squadron 42, functionality wise. Probably not, but you never know. All right, let's see here. I'm going to bring up this image. So this image is, to me, why this is Consolidated Outland ship. And again, some of you are going to look at this and probably be like, Grim, you're crazy. That's not what it means. You're reading way too much into it, blah, blah, blah. That's totally fine. I respect that. However, if you zoom down here, you see these little panels, these little weird side panels here that kind of go off in this angle because of the curvature of the cladding on the exterior of the hull. And you see these little circular things down here, these little circular pieces. Let's just say that's greeble, right? It's exterior ship detail, right? Those same features were on the Pioneer. And the original Pioneer Hollow model that I still have, those specific panel pieces and those circular shapes are in the Pioneer. Now, it's not to say that they just didn't take greeble that was going to be on Consolidated Outland ships and put it on an anvil ship. That's, of course, very possible. Who knows? I'm not CIG. But the moment I was watching the trailer and saw this side view of the ship and I saw those panel lines, I went, oh, it's Consolidated Outland. That's how recognizable it was to me. That's how recognizable it was to me. Now, one other thing I want to look at, I want to go back to the top-down view. Let's talk about scale for a minute. And so when I was doing some rough measurements of this ship, and I was making that assumption based off the size of those crates, right? We thought they were two 32 SCU crates side by side, so 64 SCU. We came up, if you did 10 rows of 64 SCU crates, we came up with a rough estimate of around 100, what was it, 120-ish meters?
I just remember the final number was like 2,560. But it was 1,280, I think, for the top floor.
In terms of total SCU carryable, but I'm talking in like meters. Yeah. We were thinking like 120.
Oh, the length of the ship was 120. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
But the thing with that now is if these are these little MPU variant drones, if that's what's flying up, we could get some new measurements. But again, that length was based purely off speculation that this was a 64 SCU crate, which it may not be. It may be 128. Who knows? We really don't know. But what I can say is that based off the length of this ship, it could be a lot of ship, right? But there's one thing to remember about this ship. Let's say it is bigger. Let's, for argument's sake, let's say this is a 300-meter long ship, right? Or somewhere around that neighborhood. While the ship itself may be 300, this ship to me is very much like the Ironclad. While yes, it could be a big ship, a lot of the ship is actually quote-unquote empty space, right? And what I mean by that is if you look at this entire cargo section of the ship, that is primarily empty space with some support structures, obviously, for the cargo, but primarily empty space. The actual livable or like workable, habitable space is right here where the bridge area is and underneath the bridge, probably some stuff up front. But then on the far port side of the ship, you'll see there's a section here that's kind of thick that's not on the starboard side. On this port side, we could have traversal ways and corridors and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I just mean that like this cargo space here is I don't want to call it empty space, but you get what I'm saying. It's like non-traversal space. It's so the ship big, but maybe not as big as you think. Same thing with the Ironclad. You got to remember, there's a big portion of the ship that's essentially just empty space. I mean, that's what makes a ship great, in my opinion, but primarily empty space. So it's just another way to think of it. Now, while we have that up, I'm going to bring up Cinema 4D. There's a couple of other angles that have been shown in some of the trailers here. I'll pull up this image here. This is a side view. Again, I showed that earlier. You could see on the starboard side some of those doors there for the cargo bay. Even this looks a little different, though, than that overhead in some ways, just in terms of the exterior cladding. Just minor things, but again, that doesn't mean the ship wasn't updated here or there. Here's another angle going over ship. You can see the round domes here on top. Those round domes matching up, or so those round cylinders, excuse me, matching up with these round cylinders. Again, there's just a lot of clues that point to this being the same ship. Here's another angle of the Gladius flying. We can see the ship here. There's its bridge, the 5 engines on the rear, as well as the large stabilizer, vertical stabilizer on the port side of the ship. Go to the top view, you can see that large stabilizer right over here.
One of the things that makes us think it's a variant, though,
Yeah.
is if you go back to the top view on the red one, you can kind of see that there's like a singular line down the middle of the ship, almost like a walkway or something, right?
Yeah.
And then when you go back to the blue one, there's 2 of them.
Yeah. Where's that?
So they're not exactly the same.
Yeah, they look different, but the same engine.
And you got to remember
setup.
but you got to know. Well, one, it has the red shot, and then literally the very next ship is the blue shot. So those ships are in the game at the same time. So it's not a variation of time. It's definitely a variation of ship.
Yeah. And look, and Quinn says this one here that I just had up looks Drake. When I first saw this trailer, for a half second, I thought it was the Caterpillar, or just a variant of the Caterpillar for a hot second.
That's what me and Agrid thought at CitizenCon.
Yeah, but it's obviously very different in the rear.
Call.
Yeah. It's very different in the rear. So one thing I'm going to pop up real quick here is we're gonna take some leaps, everybody. I want you to all bear with me, but we're going to take a few leaps here. Let me switch back off my left monitor. We'll go back to this. Now, this is just a very, very rough, shittily put together version of that cargo ship, kind of like roughed out in 3D based off that top-down view. So, and I'll switch back there. You can sort of see the top-down view of the ship here. And then I sort of tried to build things out as close as I could get them here. Again, these currently in here are 32 SCU boxes. And I just doubled them up. Again, we are basing that a lot off if these are 32 SCU boxes. Now, let's assume for a minute, and I haven't done this before stream, by the way, so we're riffing on this as we go. Let's assume that that little drone thing we saw was what Socially Confused sent, and it is indeed some sort of weird little variant of the MPUV, some sort of like little drone variant. So we're going to bring... Yep, go ahead.
I've just watched more of it. I think he's dead on the money.
Yeah.
There's also another shot from behind on that drone that he sent me, and I'd agree with him. It is so strikingly similar. I think it is the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't. There's any question
So,
now.
what is the length of the MPUV? Can anyone tell me offhand? I know there's this great tool, but
I don't think it's an MPU variant. I think it's a whole new...
Just a whole new ship. It kind of looks like the MPUV cockpit, though, right? Which could kind of give us a general scale, maybe?
I would use the cockpit as the general scale, yes.
Yeah, okay. So
I would agree with them that, but it's definitely different from behind. It's got a massive...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely... Yeah, it's definitely way different than the MPUV, for sure. I just wanted to make sure... I just want to have something as a scale reference.
Yeah, I would use the cab as a scale reference.
Okay,
yep,
so let's have a little... Let's get a little crazy real quick. We're going to get a little crazy, everyone, okay? We're going to put a box down, which we have right here. We're going to make that box, 9 meters long on the x-axis, okay? We're then going to take our MPUV, which is right here, and we're going to make sure our MPUV is scaled appropriately to scale. So the way we do that is we're just going to rotate our MPUV here 90 degrees to line up the same as our little box that we made here. And remember, our box is exactly 9 meters long. This MPUV, yep, is to scale, perfectly to scale. Okay, so we know that. So our MPUV is to scale. That much we are clear at. So let's take our MPUV, which of course is massive right now, but it's to scale. That's the scale we need to be working off. Okay, let's rotate it a little bit. So we need to make this MPUV roughly land on this pad. Okay, again, we're not exact here. We know that this drone thing is possibly using an MPUV cockpit. Okay, so let's scale up here. Let's get a little crazy. Okay, so we're gonna go big. Okay, let me scale this down here. Okay, 1 second. I think I went too big, so we're going to go down. Okay, bear with me, everybody. Again, this is back of what I call back of the napkin math here. This is not me trying to be super accurate. We're just trying to get a kind of a sense here. So if I go back to our video, let me turn my left thing on here. You can kind of see that this thing is able to land on a pad. Now it's a little bigger there because it's obviously taking off. It's already rotating. But if we go back to ours here, and our MPV sitting on that pad, assuming that the cockpit is a good scale match here, right? Let's just assume here, and we are wildly assuming. We're going to drop a measuring stick in there, and again, the ship here is roughly to scale. I use the image in the
video.
trailer.
If you play the video, it actually does land that
Okay.
drone.
It does land. Okay, cool. I don't have the video queued up at the moment, but let's just assume we're looking at right here. And again, we're going to be off, by the way, everybody, by some substantial amount of meterage, but this will give us some interesting information. So we're going to scale this out here. Okay, let's stretch it. Okay, so if I stretch this one out to roughly be here, and again, we're basing purely off this MPUV. Thank you, Iron Eye, for the subscription. This cube I just made, which is the length of the ship, this cube is 419 meters long. 419 meters long. Now, again, just like we speculated that these were 32 SCU crates, and when you line those out, that gives you a ship about 120 meters long, we're also massively speculating that this vehicle that's being flown around is we're able to use the MPUV cockpit as its measuring stick. Okay, there's still assumptions there, but that's interesting. Thoughts on that, Execute? Let me get my view centered up here.
That's insane. You said 480, yeah?
This measuring stick cube now is 419 meters long.
The Javelin's 480, isn't it?
480, yeah, for the Javelin, yeah. Yeah.
I'm not chat. Do you see that being the size of almost a Javelin?
There's another way of doing this too.
And what size would the cargo crates be?
Right. Yeah, I mean they'd be massive. They'd be massive. They would be.
It'd be massive.
They would be almost. Well, let's switch back to it because it's not too hard to tell. Honestly, it would be the cargo crates would be if this MPV the MPUV thing is roughly the scale, then that would be. That's 9. Then we're looking at a measurement of. And here's the thing: we do know we need bigger cargo crates because the hull E is going to carry 98,000 SCU. So let's just again, this is back. So it means your cargo crate. So a current 32 SCU cargo crate is 10 meters long. This cargo crate would be 40 meters long. Which, just to give everyone some understanding, that's longer than a Cutlass. So it'd be a cargo crate that's essentially bigger than a Cutlass Black.
That would be. I'm telling you in the screenshots, by the way. If you go back and look at that screenshot that Socially Confused sent,
yep,
and then look at it, it's smaller than a regular MPUV.
Yeah, it did look smaller than an MPUV to me, especially on the rear end. But that does look like the vehicle servicing it. Now,
essentially, it'd be a snub for that vehicle, or 4 of them for that vehicle.
Yeah, yeah. Now, there's another way of doing this too. This may not work because I honestly I wasn't prepared to do this right now, but I'm going to see if I can do it.
He wasn't prepared either, chat. It wasn't just me.
Yes, go ahead and convert it. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to put a background in here. We're going to tell it that it's this ship.
Hustle Bones in chat says same-ish size though. Yeah, technically that's correct, but when you're doing something that's really small and trying to get the scale of something really big, 1 foot down there on the size of something that small works out to be multiple hundreds of meters on the bigger thing.
Yeah, multiple hundreds of meters. Yep, that's exactly
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
So this is literally gone from 100, what we thought was 120 meters, to 420. That's 4 times the size.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing I can kind of do here, I don't have this set up properly because you have to do it kind of exact with angles and stuff, which I'm not prepared for. As a matter of fact, I know I'm wrong on this image here because it has to be ultra wide. So
realistically, right? I just want to ask the other question to come this the other way.
Yeah.
I'm racking my brain trying to go, how big would those containers be?
Yeah, you can
Like,
kind of
I
see
can't not
roughly
see-
here how I got to this, by the way, just so everyone knows. You can kind of see roughly how I was measuring this when I turned the ship off. You know what I mean? You can kind of see where I was going. Again, it's not exact. I would have to spend a lot more time modeling. But the idea is to get a rough sense of it. And so it's very possible with this new information, it's very possible that especially looking at this ship that Socially confused sent over, it's very possible we're looking at a very, very large cargo ship. With the so Socially just asked how large is the Pioneer. Currently, the Pioneer has been updated to 253 meters long. 253 meters long.
And I just, knowing they need to make the gap between the ships, I'm talking, I got food in my mouth. Knowing they got to make the gap from capital to large to medium to small, I just don't see it. But I think this is a lot more than an MPUV. And just looking at the screenshot.
Well, that's why I bring up this from earlier, though. The only thing is where the Pioneer has a lot of space inside of it used for all different kinds of things. You got drone support, fabrication room, you got fabrication hangars, you got crafting stations, medical wing, habitation, social areas, all engineering, all that. Yes, this is a big ship, but there's a large majority of the ship's footprint that is actually just sort of cladding for cargo boxes.
I just sent you a snippet from the video that Socially Confused sent.
Okay.
Can you use those thrusters on the back at all? They might be the thrusters off the MPUV.
Let me
I'm just asking. I don't, thrusters better than I do.
Let's see here. Yeah, it's possible. Let me take a peek here. So those are actually different thrusters.
Yeah,
they've been changed. So, but here's the thing. I actually completely agree with you that the footprint of this ship is smaller than. Well, I don't know. It's about, you know what? I think it's about the size of an MPV, just not as bulky. It's still got the length though. And if that is the case, then it could mean that this is a very large ship. Again, this is as much speculation as anything, though. We do not know. We don't know. I mean, it could be 1,000-meter long ship for all we know. We really don't. We don't know. I mean, we're taking some good educated guesses, I think, here. But at the end of the day, it's speculation. Now, let's get back to a more important question, though, with this, which is, should this ship come to the verse? And let's just talk about Consolidated Outland ships in general. And we know that they're working on the Pioneer right now. That is a big focus that they're working on. We know that the Pioneer is a ship that is in production, but while it's progressing through white box, we know that the concept teams are still doing passes on interior spaces. With that being said, we don't know if these ships, if they are indeed Consolidated Outland, we don't know if they have interiors even done for them. Maybe CIG never did them. Maybe they're not supposed to be seen from the inside. We don't know. But
me and Agri talked about this at length,
and
I kept bringing up the example of the Hammerhead, knowing that it was built for a scene in the game and used for something in the game.
Yeah.
If they can build something that looks like a duck, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, why wouldn't they take the opportunity to build it fully out and also sell it? It just does not make
I do agree with that.
Financial sense to me to half build something and not just finish it off so they can eventually sell it. Now, this might be a bigger one, so they might get round to finishing it after Squadron 42 releases.
Yeah.
But I just can't see the point of not
and
going
and
all the way.
I agree. And who said it in chat? Someone just said it in chat. Pink Tank V2 on Twitch just said this. I think this is a great point. I just pulled this image back up. He says one thing to know he says one thing no one seems to take into consideration is that there's an entire infrastructure built just for loading this specific ship, and he's actually not wrong. If you look at videos of the supply bay, right, from space station building and all that, they have those large cargo magazines, right, where the cargo's stuck on the outside and you see a hull C and a whole, pulling them off and putting them right on their grids. This is a different type of loading mechanism that we haven't seen before, and that could mean two different things. One, yes, this is maybe a loading infrastructure set up for this exact ship, this specific ship. Or two, and what I think is probably very likely, is that this is just Squadron 42, and that we may have something slightly altered for the PU. So, for example, a PU version of this ship, I could see as being mostly the same, but maybe it doesn't have so much restricting structure for the cargo areas. That way, you can more easily pull cargo in via tractor beams. Maybe, I don't know.
We talked about this. They essentially made the what do you call it, cargo loading walls for the whole seas, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they do it again for another one?
Yeah, I agree.
There's nothing to limit that. And the other thing is you could also use it as a gameplay thing. What if certain stations are only equipped to do certain cargo?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is a Consolidated Outland station. They don't have the facilities for the whole sea.
Or certain types of facilities support certain types of ships.
Or certain systems from political reasons. And then also, we also know that there are low, medium, and high tech technologies in the game.
Yeah.
So what if the hull stuff is considered high tech, and this is to be honest, this is lower tech. There's no gravity involved. There's no gravity plates. It's just regular stacking.
Or, to me, what's funny about this is that to me, this looks very much like an auto loader kind of thing where the ship is docked in here and these things are just like auto loading them like an automatic like magazine loader loading them in here. Maybe that's something we haven't seen that they do want to come to the PU. We just haven't got it yet. Is this over here?
I'm not 100% sold it's built just for this ship, by the way, because the other thing is, if you take the ship down and rotate it 180 degrees, what's it stop to coming back up the other way and be loaded from the other side? And also, if your ship is completely loaded from the top, why can't you just bring it up and the drones pull them off the shelf, so to speak, and put them on?
Yeah.
You can't actually,
Hey,
the
Griff.
only kind of loading... Hey, Griff. The only kind of loading mechanism I see at all, besides the drones, is the cranes in the video that pan across the top.
Yeah.
And again, if the cranes are there, they are not just for this ship; they're for possibly other ships as well.
Is this a docking arm here? Is this a... No, that doesn't... No, that's just like a clamp. At first I thought this was like some sort of docking corridor.
In the video, in the video, one of the cranes are moving.
Okay.
So they're definitely operating at that point. That could be a docking arm. Yeah, that does look like a docking arm.
We can switch back here. I'll show these bits of video just so everyone can see. There's two videos. I Held the Line and Squadron 42 gameplay reveal. Let's watch the gameplay reveal first here. Again, these aren't long. These are just snippets. They show these ships very, very briefly. There is our side view of passing the ship. Here's the overhead. I'm going to back up one more time here. Sorry.
I played them at 1/4 speed. I'd probably recommend.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And mute the sound.
Yeah, is the sound muted? It should be. Okay, playback speed. Let's go to quarter speed. Okay, here we go. You can see we're passing that one. Here's the overhead. You can see the crane moving. You can see boxes being loaded. Drones going by. And there's our ship. There's that drone ship again, flying. Same ship. Let's back up again. Yeah. Cranes are definitely moving. It's interesting. I wonder why cranes would be moving when it's loading from the side. It's interesting.
Actually, we can use that shot there that you've got. I've just paused your live stream like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
In the shots there, it's the same ship. You can tell from behind.
Yeah.
It's just upgraded.
Yeah.
It is the same back. Like if you look at
Yeah.
the screenshot that I sent you, and that's the same ship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yep. That's what we're seeing. That's very interesting. So that's one, again, very brief snippet. And here's another one here where we see the rear of the ship. You can see that large vertical stabilizer. We pass it. And then coming up here, you can see the ship from a completely different angle. Gives you a really different perspective of its front. The forepart of the ship, again, a lot of little Crusader, Consolidated Outland details here. And then we have that large vertical stabilizer on the port side. You can, oops, let me go back. Let me play this at quarter speed. I keep forgetting to do that. And you can see when we fly over this, again, this just screams Consolidated Outland on the front exterior of this ship. I mean, it 100% looks Consolidated Outland. Doesn't look Anvil at all to me, not even remotely. Hell, I would say it looks more Crusader than Anvil, but
actually, if you go back through that video, there was a section there where it gets right over the top,
mm-hmm.
and you can actually see a lot more detail that
Yeah.
I didn't actually look into.
Yeah.
On the far right hand side, there was a whole bunch of stuff. Like that ship looks empty as hell.
Yeah.
Compared to the other one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. You can see the drone landing pads here, and that does look like a staircase going up to them on that ramp. That does look like a staircase.
Yeah. And there's only 3 of them though, so they obviously added a 4th one because the one on the far left is not there, which also told me that this was an older version.
Yeah, and the bridge does look really, really thin. I think you could get people there, but again, maybe it's just something we haven't seen before.
Well, again, you can see that there's 1 row of windows.
Yeah, 1 row.
It's just 1 row of windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So let me go to you with this question. I mean, it's always easy to say, "Hey, yes, we should have this ship in game," but I the whole series of ships, when we look at the cargo options we have in game, we have the whole series of ships, which is really your only option for carrying anything above like what really currently spec. The whole series of ships is the only way to carry anything over 3,700 SCU of cargo. Anything over that, it has to be a whole series because I think, is it the Kraken that carries 3,700 something SCU? So anything above 3,700, I thought it was 3,700. But so anything that,
let me bring it up.
Yeah, Kraken Drake. Let's look it up here. Okay, so
I'm bringing. Oh, okay. If you want to do it, you do it. I was bringing it up. But
good. Yeah, I was working on it too. So it carries 3,792 SCU of cargo.
Yep.
So if you want to carry more cargo than that, the next thing is the hull C, which is 4,608. Then it's the hull D at 20,000 something. Then it's the hull E at 98,000. So above that Kraken limit, MISC and hull is the only options you have. So there is a very good argument for needing other cargo ships that can carry cargo at that scale from different manufacturers. Now, I agree we don't need them right now, but we do need them at some point, right?
The ship that we kind of looked at was obviously the Ironclad because we thought it was around about the same length.
Right.
But also the Banner Merchantman, because the Banner Merchantman has a very similar SCU amount if the math is accurate.
2,700 something, right?
Yeah, and this was like 2,560 or something like that, 2,560. So they're in the same ballpark. So essentially, if you think about taking all the luxury and the shops and all that off the Banner Merchantman, you kind of get back to just the cargo part. That would be this. The other thing I'd argue,
especially when we were thinking that this was a 120 meter long ship. If it's much bigger, then we may be looking at 30,000 SCU.
The other reason I think this is not an Anvil thing, show me a single gun on this ship.
Yep, no guns. I mean, that's again
There's
another
just
thing.
No guns anywhere. No turrets. No nothing.
Hustle Bones, I agree with you. It looks way bigger than an Ironclad. 100% agree with you on that. There's other shots where it doesn't look big too. Like
Well, so
this
again,
one is a classic one where it doesn't look very big.
It's-
So it's just
where you've pulled the video. I don't know if you've moved the video because I'm
No.
obviously about 20 seconds behind, but you can actually see there that Gladius is not above the ship. The literal shadow tells you the Gladius is not above it.
It's off to the side. Yeah.
It's off to the side.
It's
So,
above, but it's off to the side. So it's
yeah,
forward,
but also
okay.
if you use your eyes and move along that line on the edge of the ship, that you've moved it now, but
Mhm.
you can actually see it bows, and it bows and then bows back again because of the fisheye lens on the
Oh
camera.
yeah, you can see it bowing here
But
actually where I'm
follow the
paused.
blue. Yeah,
Yeah.
follow the blue line at the edge of the ship against the white,
Yeah.
and follow it all the way along, and you'll actually see it bow and then bow back and then bow down again.
Yeah.
They've got some kind of really weird lens on that ship going.
Yeah, and they do that in a lot of Squadron 42. What the classic shot where they do that is that classic one where the camera pans off the Hornets and then pans to the fleet. You know what I mean? The fleet kind of coming up from Vega, and we see the Javelin and all that. It's the same kind of fisheye. That is all not to say, everyone, that this is not a very big ship. I do think it's bigger than Ironclad now. I think it's very clear that this is probably a monster capital. However, I still look at it like the Ironclad, where yes, it's a big ship, but there's a massive part of the ship that is not like traversable, usable space. That's very different, for example, than say the Javelin, where the Javelin has a very large interior space to it.
I've just realized something. The sides of the blue ship are different from the sides of the red ship, because we now have this trailer to put up again. I just realized that. So there probably is most likely a variant.
Yeah, I think there's multiple variants of this. I think this, to me, this ship is Consolidated Outland's version of the Hull series, where they've got multiple variants that can do multiple things and focus on multiple things. Where the Hull series, the variants are sort of from a sense of size. I think this ship, its variants are in terms of just some of its structural arrangement and how it carries stuff. You know what I mean? Or what its purpose is.
That said, I've just realized the side in this trailer is the left side of the ship, and the red side is the right side.
Yeah.
So that they could also be asymmetric.
I think they are asymmetric because, as we saw from that overhead, it's very clear. Like if I go back to this angle here, this side of the ship has a thicker area here that's unused by the cargo, and it angles in over here. So this side is just very different than this side, which has got doors on it. Now, the other thing too is that this side of the ship with the doors on it is the same side we're seeing in this image. Again, I know you're behind, where you can sort of see these sort of large panels here on the side.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. You mean the top part of the blue ship image.
Yeah, but even on the front of this one here, this top-down angle, the sort of the one where we can see on top of the ship overhead with the gantry cranes and all that, we don't see any sort of greeble antennas or anything up front. But when you go back to go back to the blue ship, you very clearly see all that.
Can you see the antennas in the above view?
No.
I can't see because your fat head's in the way in the video.
Sorry. I'll move it over. No.
Yeah.
Again, I think we're looking at variants.
So again, 12 months they could have removed a lot of the greebles.
They could have. Absolutely could have. And it's, again, but if you go by what they've done with the Bengals series, it makes sense to take ships you've put a lot of work in and just make variants of them to fill out your universe, to make there seem like there's a lot of variety there and stuff like that, while still being able to leverage all the work you've put into something, right? So that's ultimately what I think is happening here. I mean, yeah, I think I'm erring on the idea that this is a very large Consolidated Outland cargo ship that has variants, and those variants are possibly cargo in nature or may have other specialized usages.
Zarek Master in chat says, "Can I ask what reignited talking about this ship?" I stumbled on it again in a video. Because I was actually at CitizenCon. I didn't actually kind of watch it in the video, and then I found it again, and then I realized that there was correlations between the one before and the one after, and then I just started talking about it, and it kind of went from
And
there.
now you've got to make another follow-up.
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure how big it is, to be honest with you, because we don't have the scale of that little ship.
Yes.
And we also don't know how big those cargo boxes are. Like you and I assumed they were, kind of 64.
Yeah.
But again, like when I blow those up in my head to 128, I can't get to the shape in that video.
Well, I mean, the best evidence we have right now is that little drone. I don't want to call it a drone, that little snub that Socially Confused sent. I think that gives us some good indicators, I guess is the best way of saying it, of scale. If that is correct, obviously it's a very big ship. But even with all that evidence, we're speculating, everybody. We're wildly speculating. We don't know. It could be 300 meters long. It could be 420 meters long. It could be 200 meters long. We really don't know. We don't have, the issue is we don't have a standard yardstick or anything in this scene to measure against. And now, we could probably get someone like Tristpone, someone who really enjoys doing camera angle and field of view, and focal length and field of view matching, because I know he does enjoy that. And maybe he could grab a still from that shot with the Gladiuses going over and use that, try to match the camera, the focal length, and all that, and try to get an accurate representation of scale, and get us there. I do know how to do that, but it's also a lot of pain in the ass work that I don't want to do when I'm not actually getting paid for it. So
I did some more math. That would have to be to be that size based on the way a 32 SU cargo container looks. Would in fact have to be a 256 cargo container.
Gotcha.
SU.
Okay. 256.
That's insane.
Yeah. But if you think about it, let's do this for a minute. I'm going to pull up a calculator real quick. Okay. We know that the whole E carries 98,000, right? If you divide that by 256, just for shits and giggles, that gives you 382 boxes roughly. That's about where the hull E is going to be, because they're not going to make a hull E carry anywhere over that just for entity count reasons, right? So the hull C carries what, like 120 boxes or something like that, which we know is a lot entity count wise. CIG's even alluded to that. So the hull E is going to have to carry boxes big enough that its entity count, when it's fully loaded, is not crazy. So
can you open a 32 SU cargo container for me in Cinema 4D? Right. I just want to make sure I've wrapped my brain around this, because if my math is, I've just not redone the math, it would actually be 512. Because I'm trying to get to the same size, right? And so essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking the 32 SU cargo container, essentially stacking it sideways 4 times, and then doubling that on top of itself, and then I'm doubling that across again. And that's the only way I can get to that shape in my head.
Oops.
And if that's the case, that makes it 500 and that's insane.
No, one second. Let me grab is it Kovalex transport box? I'm looking for it. Sorry.
It would make that it would literally make that 432 SU cargo containers wide and 4 long. That's that can't be correct.
So
that means that one of those containers is almost as big.
So I did have VMXCO measure this, and he said that these boxes are 10 meters long. The 32 SCU crates are 10 meters long in game, exactly. So yeah, they're 10 meters long.
Okay. But that would mean a single crate of this thing holds almost as much. Well, a Caterpillar holds 576.
Right. So
that's insane. There's no way.
But here's the thing. The only thing, though, is we do know we've got to get up to those scales for cargo boxes because of the hull E at some point, right?
Yeah.
Because you could argue
that
the hull E is not going to be able to have an entity count above a hull C, so it can carry 120 boxes.
Before you go long ways, I don't want you to go long ways. I want you to go like into a cube first, because that'll make it easy to duplicate later. So I want you to go to the left of it and then duplicate those 2 above.
But what am I trying to do here?
Yeah, well, It's easier to talk than explain.
Let me.
So if you just take one and duplicate it next to the other one, and then take those two and then duplicate that above the other two, so you've essentially got 4 in a cube type of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then and now treat those 4
Mhm.
like they were the original 32 SU cargo container.
Mm-hmm.
And then you duplicate that across.
Right, which means these you'd have 10 across.
Yep.
Right, you'd have 10 across, which is sort of the only issue with
But
that is it doesn't account for like the
not,
back and front of the ship, and the ship does have these like transversal gaps in it.
It's also not the right shape. So you've actually if you duplicate that one across to be 2, you then also have to duplicate those 2 to go long ways to get to the right shape, and that's how I got to 512.
Like this, yeah. I know you're behind, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But also in the video you can tell they're clearly cubes, so then you've got to also duplicate that so it's vertical.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how you get. Oh yeah, you're going that. No, okay. I can't see what you're doing because I'm behind. So, so yeah, if you take the 4 you've got there and duplicate to the left of itself.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let me.
So now you're back to the shape of an original 32 SU cargo container, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got to duplicate that to be square. So you duplicate that by 4, like I got you to do the first time.
Yeah.
So all 8 of those duplicate exactly the same, like I got you to do the very first time.
Yeah.
So 1 off to the left, then 2, and then take the 2 at the bottom and duplicate them to the top.
Yeah. It becomes massive.
Because what I'm trying to, for those in chat that is trying to follow, I'm trying to retain the shape, because to my eye, and even Grim said the same thing, they look like a 64 SU cargo container.
Yeah.
So if they're 64, you have to retain that shape, right? So to retain that shape, we take a box that we've already got.
Thanks, Ricky.
But that's insane to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. I mean, again, we know they're going to need some massive boxes for those bigger hull series of ships. We know that. So, yeah, I could see that. The funny thing too is those boxes become so big that only the big ships can service them, really. That and maybe a Kraken if you can just set it on the exterior deck. So it's going to be interesting.
So someone in chat saying they look very cube-like. No, they don't. They're very long. If you actually like in a lot of the shot, there's only one that you fully see the whole box, and that's the one in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah.
That's half in the ship and half out of the ship. That's the only one that you can kind of see the whole thing.
It's a cube, but it's like a rectangle though.
Yeah. But again, we have no frame of reference for how big it actually is.
Yeah.
But again, if you take the MPUV and put it next to that, maybe that's how you do it. You try to scale the MPUV cab to the box and then figure out how big the box is. And then once you know how big the box is, you can use the box to tell how big the ship is. I think we've probably missed a step.
I think what you got to do is you're going to have to plan another episode where you get all the ship speculators and we will just go to town on it.
Yeah, well, you want to get me, you, and Trispone together.
There we go.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, the other thing you could use is the ramp that the people walk up. That gives you a rough idea how big a person is.
Yeah, especially now that CIG is using kits for those, we kind of know the scale of like steps and stuff like that to better calculate, based off that. But for everything we're seeing, this looks to be possibly a very big ship, a very, very big ship. So we'll see. I mean, again, a lot of speculation there. Hopefully CIG will give us a little bit more insight there. I do got to run to work, everybody. It is a Tuesday. I hope you all enjoyed this episode.
They always get caught short for work. How lame.
I know. For some reason,
this is we're having fun.
But this is more of a reason to possibly talk. We might talk about this tomorrow night when we do the Perseus giveaway. So it might be fun to talk more about this because we'll be talking all about spaceships. So
let me know if you want me to come along.
Sounds good. Yeah, we might get you, VMXEO. Who knows? Maybe Trispone will be interested. We'll just get a whole bunch of ship people.
Yeah,
we'll talk about.
That'd be cool.
That being said, everyone, I hope you have a great day. I hope you all enjoyed the show today. It was fun. Again, Perseus giveaway. Do not forget to get in on that if you haven't already. I'm going to put the Gleam link back into chat. Make sure you grab that. go register. A lot of free ways to register. We're going to give that ship away tomorrow. You do not have to be in stream to win it, but you do have to get back in touch with me within 5 days. I will reach out to you via email when you win. This will be for an RSI Perseus gunship. It comes with 120 months of insurance. It's really awesome, and hopefully coming out later this year. That's what we're speculating. So that being said, I'm going to send you all over to Citizen Spooner. Give him some Starjump love on your way over there. Give him the old Starjump salute. I will see you all tomorrow when we do the Perseus giveaway. Thanks for everybody for speculating with us, keeping it calm and chill and chat and respectful. It's fun to agree. It's fun to disagree, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to speculate. Execute. Have a great day, buddy, and we will talk to everyone later. Bye, everybody.